You're listening to the Hot Topix Podcast with Psycho 4081, the lovely Lady Lamb Chop, and the fabulous Felonious Feather. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to another episode of Hot Topix Podcast. I'm Psycho 4081. I'm here with
Lady Lamb Chop.
The lovely Lady Lamb Chop. And you know, Felonious Feather's not here today. She's feeling a little bit under the weather.
Get better.
So, yeah, hope she recovers fast. I know she will. She'll recover fast enough to make another party. 'Cause that's what she does.
I think you just be hating.
She does. She is one party animal.
As she should be.
All the youngsters that want to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did get to see, I meant to say earlier, Fruitvale Station.
How did you like it?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
And it was all the emotions, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't have any emotional tugs in there. I could just relate to certain things that was in there, like whether it be like myself or family, and of course me as a professional,
right? Right.
And seeing that. So it if any emotion that I got was anger.
Yes. I got them all.
Yeah.
Anger, sadness, I got all of them.
It definitely was anger.
Mm-hmm.
And it I could relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on both sides.
Right. So good movie.
Yes.
He's very, very talented.
Yeah.
The director.
Yeah,
he is
Coogler.
he's very talented. And it looks like that Michael B. Jordan is going to be his De
go-to
Niro,
guy.
Scorsese thing, you know.
Yeah, like Spike Lee had Denzel.
Yeah. It looks like that's going to be his guy. So, which is not a bad thing because they're making great movies.
Yes, they are. Kudos to them.
Mm-hmm. Kudos.
Anything in the news?
There's so much in the news.
Like the guy from one of the singers from a famous group.
Atlantic Star.
Atlantic Star passed away. He was pretty young comparatively, right?
Yeah.
And it was another group I can't recall, but it's the same like all our old I won't say heroes, but the people that we listen to.
People, yeah. Our music heroes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's going away.
Yeah. And I mean, you gotta think about it. Even though we were young, it didn't mean that they were young. So,
well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
We were young listening to them. It didn't mean they weren't, already getting up there in age.
The Isley Brothers was performing back in the 50s.
In the 50s.
That's
in the 50s.
What, 70 years?
Yes.
So when would they start? When he was 8?
Yeah, they were young.
Jesus.
They were in their teens and 20s. They were young, so kudos to them too, because it's not a lot of groups that can have that kind of longevity.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
so.
Then you hear what's going on out west in California? I had to mention it.
I know. And honestly, it's just so overwhelming to be in these United States. And you know, I woke up this morning thinking, it hasn't even been a full year, right?
It hasn't.
Oh.
So January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Hasn't been 6 months. Hasn't been 6 months. But so is I know you've seen it. The ICE going out there, yanking up people, not even violent criminals, but yanking up people and they looking at in full, paramilitary gear, the mask, the whole nine, which police don't even do unless you a high profile or dangerous, person. So that's what they're doing for regular people in restaurants, and they're making mistakes. They're yanking up people. They actually got a U.S. Marshal, yanking
a college.
Was it professional?
I know. I think he was a college president. I want to say.
Oh yeah, it's just, and I guess they don't care.
80-year-old grandmothers.
See, and you know what? Sometimes, from what I heard, I didn't see it myself, that they approach people and you can't tell who they are. So what happens if you start firing on them? The
military is not identifying themselves? The police are not identifying themselves? Okay.
Right. So they might even been like, let's say, dressed down with, you know how here in Baltimore they call it the knockers or whatever, the jump out boys. But so what happens if you jump out on somebody like, let's say like me, right, and I carry a weapon,
right, and
I start shooting, then what? Who's at fault?
Right.
So.
Well, you're going to be in the end, but I'm just saying you shouldn't be. And you're right. They don't identify themselves when they arresting people.
Right. And you have to.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, you have to. So There's a hotline that they have out where for National Guardsmen and law enforcement, if you feel that they're forcing you or you're being ordered to violate the Constitution, you can call in that hotline.
Right.
So I don't know what that does.
He probably dismantled it. He dismantled everything else.
Yeah, but no, I think this just happened.
Okay.
Especially now because
of all of the stuff that's going
the National Guard's involved. And
which he wasn't supposed to do. That was supposed to have been the governor, right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
The president can order the National Guard in circumstances. It's happened before, like down in Alabama back in
riots.
Right. You know, so
right.
but it's typically is up to the governor because that's
right.
under the control of the governor, and all this is because of how they're handling immigration. You know, so and well. I don't know how this relates. We're going to talk about cancel culture.
Okay.
And you can say the current administration, are they being sort of canceled because of their immigration policies?
Who's canceling them?
A lot of people are not. They're boycotting. There's other things, but they're boycotting Tesla. They're marking up this.
Yeah.
They're
Target is a big arrow. Target
wow.
is Target, yeah.
And even people have been like judges told the ICE agents that the suspect went the other way.
Really?
Now they're trying to charge her. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So and then you got the local governments and sometimes I guess state governments are telling their officers not to cooperate with.
Right.
You know, so that's
well.
that's
I think Maryland said that they weren't going to go after.
Which I don't agree with that to some aspect because you're still a law enforcement agency. And as long as they're not violating the law, you should comply. That's my stand on that. Whether it's fair or not, you know, we leave that up to the court of public opinion.
Right. But here's the thing. Some of these people aren't violating the law, aren't committing crimes and they're getting arrested.
Well, technically, those. And, this is the time to be a lawyer. Anybody go to law school? Because I would be suing oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I would sue because, you can't do that without consequence. But technically when you come through the border, you sneak through, you created
you've already committed a crime.
Okay. And if you overstay your visa, technically is a crime, whether it be a civil offense or whatever, still, whatever, but
okay, so I'm going to put this out there.
Okay.
I know that there are some other countries that people have snuck over or have overstayed their visa that don't look like brown people, and I have not seen one of these people get arrested.
Well, let me tell you, I haven't either. Not a single one. Except some of the people who conveniently don't identify as brown, like them Venezuelans. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Stop it. That's horrible.
That's what they were saying.
Don't make fun of people.
Listen, I'm not making fun of, I love all my black, brown, white, yellow, whatever. I like everybody. But I'm getting this directly from what they were saying in the on social media, whatever. That's how I'm just using the accent because it's hilarious.
It's not hilarious.
It's hilarious to me. So cancel culture.
Okay. What is the definition of cancel culture? Did we decide that?
So I'm going to say this is my definition of cancel culture. We have a time period in our society where people have decided as a collective to cancel, not support or try to shut down or affect somebody's economic viability because of the stance that they take.
Okay.
So, we see it, who was canceled. Let's throw out who they tried to cancel. Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So the LGBTQ community and the trans community, tried to cancel him. But some people can't be canceled.
Yeah, he's one of those persons.
Yeah. Who else? Kanye. We cancel people all the time. We cancel people who support Trump.
A good point. That's a good point.
I canceled Kanye West because of his nonsense.
I kind of canceled him long before that. That's true because he has some craziness going on.
He does.
When he said slavery was an option, I was done with him. I was absolutely done with him. So the actual definition of cancel culture is a term for a public shaming campaign, often on social media, where individuals or group are publicly ostracized or boycotted for perceived wrongdoings or offensive behavior.
Okay,
I'm made to say, well, perceived because everybody's opinion is different.
Right.
This can involve losing support, being fired, facing backlashes in their career.
i.e. Target.
Yeah, Target. We done with Target.
Tesla.
We done with. Well, I never was on that campaign, so.
All right, so now here's the thing. Let's talk about the corporate world.
Okay.
What's the difference between cancel culture and accountability? Like holding somebody just accountable.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
I'm gonna say when it comes to, I know you boycott Target,
Which is hurting my heart because I love Target. I ain't even gonna lie.
and I boycotted McDonald's at one point.
Okay.
You know, because they just kept getting my order wrong. You know, I was like, I'm tired of this.
talking
But
to
I
me.
did, no, seriously, I went 2 years without nothing from McDonald's.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of cancel culture, it's a whole group of
Well,
people, not
it is.
you.
But I'm saying how I canceled. That was my own initiative.
Okay.
But like say Target, I canceled Target also. Not that I'm a shopper at Target, so that was the easiest.
But what's harder for me is we should be boycotting Walmart. We should
Right.
be boycotting Amazon, and those are harder for me to do. So
When we're targeting Target,
Target.
is that because we want to hold them accountable for the decisions they made, and it was
Yes.
specifically DEI.
Yes.
Okay, and some of the other ones too.
Right.
And there's some, let's say. So I'm gonna say we're holding them accountable, and that's
Yes.
not really. I don't think that's so much a part of cancel culture, because I think once they start changing certain things, and it could change overnight.
Right.
Then I think
then
it's
people
done.
will go back. Yes. Yes. If they decided it, but they are holding fast.
Yeah, they are.
They are losing money hand over fist, but they are holding fast. And it's kind of sad because there is a lot of black and women.
Right.
What's the word? Product.
Shoplifters.
Stop talking to me. Just stop talking to me.
All right.
Businesses, owners,
okay.
businesses that are in Target that we supported
Okay.
wholeheartedly, but people are not supporting them now because of Targets and their shenanigans.
Okay, so those suppliers,
Right.
should maybe, when they said the thing about the DEI, maybe they should have pulled from Target.
Agree.
Maybe, but they would have lost a lot of money. So how
They
that's,
losing it.
that's difficult for them. I see.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, but you know who lost the most money ever in the history of people?
Being canceled. Who?
Elon Musk.
And he still got a pile more, so
He's-
I don't feel bad.
He has the biggest drop in income,
Good.
which is telling because he's still the richest person in the world.
That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
still got a pile more, so he's not hurting.
But that was because of cancel. He's been canceled by a lot of people. The Tesla, the ugly
Good.
Cybertruck.
Right.
I think that's the only thing you really could cancel from him.
As far as consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes.
Because it's not like we have a hand in rock SpaceX and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
or his government contracts, which should be canceled. But they may be soon.
Yeah.
Because him and his boyfriend fighting.
That is hilarious to me.
It's hilarious.
So
It's hilarious. I love it. But I just wish that it had happened before he fired half of the United States.
right, and they're still gonna go on and doing the same thing because the Supreme Court said that they have access to sensitive Social Security information, which I think is
Horrible.
This is the worst government
Horrible.
administration I've seen in some time. I'm not that old, but But so
He $5 y'all. Not $5. What
Double
did you
nickel.
say? Double nickels.
But so what's the difference between? All right, so we're gonna say that's an example of accountability.
Okay.
Where
Okay.
as a people,
Right.
we're holding them accountable.
Right.
Now, give me an example of how the people are canceling somebody.
I think they canceled Drake.
Drake. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think they canceled
Well,
Drake.
yeah, and I think they canceled him mostly because of his competition.
Yeah.
I don't even know what he did.
Well, apparently, and I'm getting this like from my son who
The
kind of
minor?
follows the thing. He's not a minor.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently he likes younger girls, not women, girls. And I think he said something about what's the guy? I can't think of his name.
Kendrick Lamar.
Right. He said something about Kendrick Lamar in a song, and Kendrick was just kind of like, leave me alone. I'm over here minding my business.
And lit him up.
He didn't. So he just hit him with everything he had. Sometimes you should just leave people alone when they ask you to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
But you can also put R. Kelly in that group of
Good
people
example.
who got canceled,
Yes.
and Diddy right now.
Yes.
Who is getting canceled, and they got canceled based on their behavior.
I joined the cancel movement, my personal cancel movement, when he was
Which one?
Diddy making the band. When he had them going to get that cheesecake.
Yes.
Because he was a super narcissist,
Yes.
egomaniac, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah.
That's when I agree.
Yeah.
That's when I canceled him, too. I agree.
Yeah.
But, the issue with Diddy is that if we cancel him, we cancel all the people he's worked with and all the music that he's made. I mean, it is still people who have R. Kelly songs, and will continue to listen. Same thing with Drake and same thing,
I cancel R. Kelly.
Yeah, I definitely canceled R. Kelly.
From the point that he where he started. But I still put 12 play on my rotation.
I don't have any of his songs on my rotation anymore.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because I paid money for that. It was good music. So I'm like, I'm going to listen to it because it's a good music, whatever. But anything like after that, I'm not going to, I would never buy anything from him again.
Right.
I'm not watching any movie, nothing from him. Not that he would be, you can't do that from jail.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be getting out anytime soon.
No, he's not. Yeah. I mean, I like the remix to Ignition was on. I had all of it on my iPad, whatever, and all of it's off now.
So you totally
all of it is
really
off now.
You go hard.
I did. I really did. Yeah, and that's why I said about Diddy, because there's a lot of people that I have on my iPod that I don't even have my my music list.
112.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you cancel all the people he was involved with if you cancel him?
I wouldn't, only because he's thus you don't want to cancel his artist. They didn't do anything.
Right.
Unless you listen to the trial, they throw names out like Ray J and all of.
I have not listened to the trial, and I keep saying I'm not going to, but I know that at some point we're going to do an episode, so I have to catch up. But yeah,
it's no, I'm not gonna make. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna make fun of the Diddy trial, only because of all the stuff that came out. And some of it actually is funny because we like to poke fun at people, whatever. But there's victims and all that. And he's how I know Lauren Griffith, she would say, people are using this word diabolical, too much, and narcissist. And I said, yeah, Diddy, P Diddy, Papa Diddy Pop, whatever,
whatever he called himself lately.
So yeah, he's diabolical. Yeah. And like I said, I think we could look at him and say, as a society, most of us is going to cancel him. Okay. Now, all right, we're selective when it comes to canceling.
Agreed.
Right?
Because we did not cancel Michael Jackson.
Exactly. And still, some people really, I don't think his was as clear cut.
Right.
Right. And then he also had some things where they found out they was trying to extort him. Mm-hmm. So could he have? Did he? We still don't really know.
Right.
We gave him the benefit of the doubt because he's Michael Jackson.
Agreed.
Right?
I agree.
So can people come back from being canceled?
Oh yeah, I think they can.
Who's been canceled that that came back?
I don't remember.
Let me see. Let's think. Who has been canceled in? R. Kelly hasn't. Let's see. Kanye West. Don't know if he's
somebody out there still paying attention to him.
I really wasn't a big follower of him.
Yeah.
They canceled. They tried to cancel Will Smith.
Yes, they did.
I think he's probably going to. Now I heard his little ordeal that people was jumping to sign him for movies or whatever, and now people are making excuses like, oh, okay, I'll call you back.
Really?
And my thing was this. He went up there and smacked Chris Rock. He didn't smack your mother. He made and a lot of people were pissed off about that because you was on the world stage.
That's what
and
it
you
was
made
for
us
me.
look bad.
That's what
right?
it was for me.
Yeah, but I'm not canceling him for that. I thought it was, you know, what I said at the first time. I said that was a bitch move, you know. But I'm not gonna cancel him for it because he's a great actor. You know, he got up in his emotions and he lost it over his wife or sort of wife or whatever she is. You know, I'm not so, but I think he'll bounce back if he hasn't already.
Okay.
Because you know, I follow him on Facebook. He has a Facebook page now, and he was doing some freestyles. I was like, oh, he still got it. You know, I was calling him the Fresh Prince. Right. You know, the Fresh Prince still got it. So I think people can come back. Depends on, I guess, the severity.
Right.
You know, let's see who else. Some other people who've been canceled. All right, we can start with who's canceled who. Who has the LGBTQIA plus community canceled? A lot of them I don't know. I know they did some comedians. I think they tried to do.
They tried to do Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle might have been Ari Spears, I think.
I don't know. He probably need to be canceled.
I like Ari Spears. I love him. Now, I tell you who needs to be canceled.
He's raggedy sometimes.
Corey. What's Corey?
I don't know.
What is Corey's last name? Corey Holcomb.
Don't know.
Oh,
don't follow him.
Oh, let me tell you. He says some. All right, you've heard him. You've heard him.
Okay.
He's the one that was telling the story about the baby. I mean, the girl. He had to act like he was sad about her having a miscarriage.
No.
And he was like, I had to act like I was unhappy about it, and then she took her to the bathroom and, you know, flushed him down the toilet, and he was saying how he was going around and around all the way down. He was like, bye, little nigga.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He says some, and even they saw the interaction between him and his daughter, how he is very disrespectful, even aside from, you know, comics can be that way in the name of comedy.
Right.
But sometimes you can go overboard, and some of his stuff is funny, but then, you know, always got to be, sometimes now I'm feeling guilty about laughing at some of the stuff he has.
Right.
If you get a chance, just listen to him so you can hate somebody like
Gotcha.
with me.
Are we canceling women? I cannot think off the top of my head a woman that we canceled.
We canceled Roseanne.
Oh, good one.
Yep.
She should have been canceled.
Roseanne,
good one.
but she came back. So apparently we also canceled the guy from Seinfeld. What was his name?
Oh yeah, Michael
Right.
Richards.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So apparently they both came back because they have I think a sitcom coming out with them both.
The two of them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Or it might be on one of the channels, like the unwoke channels or something along those lines.
Okay. We did cancel Paula Dean.
We did cancel Paula Dean. And I don't know what she's doing. But
She is on a random, like, not that popular streaming thing.
But
like,
so she did come back though.
Yeah, she did, but not as big.
Not as
big, but she did come back. And I think the Lady and Sons in Savannah is still open.
Okay.
So the restaurant didn't go down, but when we visit Savannah, it was hardly anybody in
Really?
there. It was no line, it was no wait, it was hardly anybody in there.
It just meant there was a lot more healthier people around because her food was good. I'll give it to her. This is I'm gonna say good about Paula Dean. All right. She always used stuff that was in your cabinet.
That is true.
You know, she didn't worry about, well, you got this, we got to use this.
Exotic vanilla from
Yes.
Madagascar. You're right.
Yes,
She did.
yes.
She did.
So I've never had anything from a store or whatever, but it was good. Who else? Let's see. Women. I think the only person I could think of that was canceled was Roseanne. As far as women goes, we no politician. We've never a female politician. We've never.
We ain't canceled Marjorie Taylor Greene yet.
You know what? I don't think she was ever accepted.
Okay, there you go. So you can't cancel somebody you don't accept.
Yeah,
Good point.
She's still in the circle of her group of MAGA midgets.
You're right.
Well, I shouldn't say MAGA midgets. MAGA mental midgets.
Stop.
Okay. So, we're gonna do one. Speaking of which, I'm gonna try to get this guy in. We can call it Mind of MAGA.
Oh.
And interview some MAGA people.
Okay.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Then so women get a pass then, or maybe they
not necessarily.
Maybe they just don't go overboard like men.
Or maybe they say they stuff in secret and we just don't catch them. Yeah. Because I can't imagine them not being out there. So we just haven't been catching them.
I can't recall any women out there outside of Roseanne that really went. Oh, there was somebody who was already accepted on across. Whoopi Goldberg.
She got mini canceled.
Yeah, by.
She got mini canceled.
By MAGA?
Yeah. No, before.
Oh, really?
By us, before. Because remember her and Ted Dancer did that whole blackface thing.
Oh.
So she got mini canceled.
Okay.
And she did come back.
Okay, so
she did.
Okay, so that answers that question. That you can come back.
Yeah. So.
Oh, Chrisette Michele.
Chrisette Michele.
The singer.
Yeah.
Who performed for Donald Trump's inauguration. They canceled her.
She did get canceled. You're right.
I don't know if she came back, but I don't hear
anything.
Yeah, I forgive you, Chrisette Michele.
You just saying that because she cute.
Yes.
If she wasn't cute, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, cancel away.
Yep, and I always loved her because of her part what she did with Jay-Z on Loved Ones. That so I Let's see. So they can come back. All right, no, but.
Yeah, I think people can come back.
But should past mistakes always now we're gonna go into some good stuff here. Should past mistakes always resurface, or is there room for growth and redemption? Now, you remember Justin Trudeau, the president of Canada. Mm-hmm. Okay, loved the guy. Thought he was the greatest. I would have traded him for Trump. I'd have traded
a hot dog for Trump right now.
But I always admired him as a world leader.
Okay.
So they pulled up something back in his college days where he wore blackface or something along those lines, and everybody was trying to, assassinate his character because of that. And I was like, okay. In my mind, I was saying, okay, he was young and dumb, and I know I could be the first one to raise my hand that when I was young and dumb, I did some very dumb things too. Absolutely. So, with that said, and we pull up people from. Supreme Court justices when they go through their trials and stuff, political candidates. Now, can't think. Well, even Trump. We could say, well, they pull up stuff from Trump when he was. He said something. Well, many times he said something racist. So I guess, but
racist, sexist.
He has a history of that, which is a little bit different. But should we give people an opportunity to redeem themselves from? So
yes, I think you're supposed to grow and learn from your mistakes. Now, when it becomes a problem, is that you keep repeating the same mistakes. Okay, but you should learn and grow from your mistakes.
So how about David Duke?
He's not gonna learn from his mistakes. I don't care what anybody says.
So I'm gonna say
he is who he is.
I'm gonna say some people cannot be redeemed, or should not be redeemed. And when you redeem somebody or let them be redeemed, I think it depends on the circumstances in which they, they erred. Is that the right word? Erred? Erred. Well, if you were young and dumb, whatever, I could see that. They talked about Robert Byrd, the senator, the senator from West Virginia. He used to be a Klansman back in the day, and he was a Republican. Then he switched to Democrat, and whatever. He was an upstanding person. So they always bring back that his past, right? He redeemed himself. Okay, in that sense too. So I think it depends on your circumstances
and what you did
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now in the entertainment world, there's some people that me personally, I will never ever let them redeem themselves in my eyes, my judgmental eyes, and that's Diddy. That's one.
Yeah.
R. Kelly's another one.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't even watch the Bill Cosby reruns anymore.
Now, let me tell you this. I personally could let him, in my eyes, he could be redeemed because he's still, throughout my history, my whole life, he's been that icon, that standard of excellence, and who made us proud, this and that, whatever. So his thing was, he did what he did, and he did it for a long time in the past. Back when not really expected it, it was accepted.
It was accepted,
right? Which
as wrong as it was, yes. It was just how it was,
right?
Right.
And it's not like he didn't make a comedy show about one of the skits, not a skit, I guess, one of his acts about Spanish Fly.
Yeah,
because I remember that when I was a kid.
Yes, I do too. You're right. Although that's how it was, and it was accepted, it was a lot of men who weren't doing these things.
Well, yeah.
So you still, was participating in something that you didn't have to participate in. So,
and you know, what kills me about that, when you do certain things and like, all right, you can go into a club, you can go into a restaurant and say, hey, I'm William H. Cosby, you know, or I'm Bill Cosby, and you can get what you want.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, like Mike Tyson was the same way. And we redeemed Mike Tyson.
We absolutely redeemed Mike Tyson.
You know, biting off ears, the rape charges.
Right.
And, you know.
Hitting his spouse,
yes.
all of that stuff. So you're right.
I think sometimes we're selective, and it depends on who it is and how great of a person we thought they were in society or in pop culture or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we redeemed Rick James.
Did we though?
I did.
Did we though?
Everybody who says, I'm Rick James, bitch.
Facts. Facts. And his last time on TV, everybody was standing up and cheering for him. So you're right. We did.
And of course, he wasn't making any music after that because he was out there. But you know, whatever. But who does the most canceling?
Oh yeah, we talked about this a little bit before. The minority groups.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? The marginalized.
Well,
groups.
like who decides? And who decides when somebody
gets canceled?
Yeah.
Right.
And who survives it? And we talked about that whole, you know, selective thing.
Right.
Now, let's say black people, we try to cancel, you know, people who
we would cancel our cousins.
Yeah.
we will cancel you.
All right, so that's the minority group. There's a lot of people, a lot of Latino Hispanics canceled Trump.
Okay. But it was a lot that didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Listen, I canceled black people who voted for Trump. I was just like, there's nothing you could say to me. You canceled.
You know, and nobody's there in the voting booth, so I don't care. But when you make it known and you're trying to influence other people, knowing what you know about them, that's the problem I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't think he can be redeemed.
No, I don't think so either. Because he has his whole life basically, you know, and his father's basically, and his kids. He's passing on to his kids,
right? And wasn't one of the royals, who's the young one? Harry? Is Harry the youngest one?
Yeah.
Okay, so he at one point in school went to a party dressed as a Nazi.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So
I remember that.
They canceled him for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and he definitely redeemed himself.
Yeah. And that's a case, like we said, of, you know, being young and dumb. Even though he's a royal, still, you know, he gets invited to the party. So, and I think him marrying what's her name?
Meghan Markle. Listen, I didn't even know she was black till they started talking about it.
I didn't either.
I did not even know.
No, I did know that because I saw her in one movie.
Okay.
It was about somebody getting married. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I kind of figured that, but I didn't, you know.
I didn't know.
She ain't the standard bearer for black women, so.
True.
But yeah, definitely minority groups. We're gonna say minority groups.
Okay.
Any disenfranchised group.
Any disenfranchised group. Okay. That's a good thing.
LGBTQ women.
Plus, and
right.
And men. We cancel.
Men men as a whole don't really cancel people.
Oh, you said, okay. So I thought you were saying LGBTQ women. You're separating. You're separate. Comma. Gotcha.
Women,
yeah.
Because women are canceled.
Yeah.
Come together and cancel.
Oh, absolutely.
The LGBTQ community. Black men, maybe not so much, but maybe they didn't cancel OJ.
They did not.
But men altogether, men will never come together like women will.
Okay, and cancel.
Right, because men, you can't say that men as a whole were marginalized groups. Women were, whether you were white, Hispanic, whatever.
True.
The Asians, you don't hear too much from them, but I'm sure they probably do it some sort of way. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, you don't hear too much from them.
Yeah, teenagers, the young people cancel people.
Yeah,
you know
they will.
And I think that's where it
Drake started. Thing, I feel like that's where it started with them.
Every revolution starts with the young people.
That is true.
And I give the young people kudos for, but that also is worrisome for me
Because
a lot of the young people right now are directionless, and they didn't have the people that
they didn't have a struggle.
Right. So I can say, well, even if I didn't have a struggle, my mom had a struggle, my grandma had a struggle.
That is true.
They're in that generation now where they don't have that connection to a struggle.
True.
You know.
So is that our fault though?
Yeah, it's our fault.
Yeah.
we dropped the ball.
Yeah, we dropped the ball.
Like those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Do you think canceling? I'm gonna throw this out. Do you think cancel culture has an effect on mental health? Because I don't think so.
Maybe the person getting canceled.
Well, yeah,
but not in general.
But not on both sides of the screen. You know. Let's see. They have. We mentioned marginalized groups. Because we were more or less the victims.
Right.
And they were the drivers of cancel culture. So with that, has it most of the time led to meaningful change? I can tell you one that was unsuccessful.
What?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
They still tried to cancel Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't.
But some did lead to meaningful change. Target.
Yeah.
Go back to Target.
Yeah.
You know, they had the, I think it was the shareholders sued the board of directors or something along those lines because of,
yes.
decisions that was made.
Yes.
I think, hate to say it, but I think Tesla will start changing some. He's actually trying to change his tune now.
You think he is?
Oh, he's trying because he's talking about, funding the Democrats. We're not going to forget Elon. Okay?
Yeah,
we're not going to
forget.
We're not. And I'm not forgetting because you booted me off of X for no reason.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know why he booted me off of X. But yeah, so they are the vehicle of change.
Mm-hmm. It can be the vehicle. It can be.
I'm trying to think of any other thing we canceled that made any changes. All I can think of right now was Target.
Right. For right now.
Because people have short memories for when it comes to.
And that's true, and that's why I think people can redeem themselves.
Yeah.
Like I think that's why people can bounce back because remember we were talking about the Shannon Sharp thing.
Right.
He had a little incident. They just didn't have him on TV for a little while, and boom, he came right back. And I think it's going to be the same thing with this one.
Now, did you cancel Amazon?
I did not. I just said that.
Yeah,
I just said I was having problems with Amazon and Walmart.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, I was like, I like my Amazon Fire Stick. I like my packages.
Right.
So.
It wasn't that for me. It was that in my little hobby business, a lot of the area craft stores were closing down or didn't have what I needed.
Okay.
So I was only stuck with Amazon and Walmart.
So you was forced.
Yeah, it was just like I really wanted to be like, no, I don't want to deal with you guys anymore. Because let's be honest, half the stuff I order, I can live without.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. But when it comes to what I need to do for that little business, I needed things.
Okay.
And I try to go to mom and pop stores. They're closing up because of Amazon and Walmart, and it's really getting more difficult to find the things that I need.
Well, I think that's another reason why they don't crush under or switch under pressure, because they know at some point people will rely on them.
We don't have a choice.
Regardless,
we really don't have a choice. And,
that's the sad thing.
Got a whole list of, the black-owned business or women-owned business and all of this stuff. And I was just like, you want to participate and you want to shop with them. And I hear people say this all the time. Why does this cost so much? It costs so much because you're not a multi-billion-dollar business who could get something for 5 cents and sell it to the public for 2 cents.
Right.
So that's why it costs so much to be involved in a minority or black-owned business, because it's going to cost you a little bit more. Just give, just if you can, support them as best you can. So, yeah, it's hard. And some places you want to cancel and you can't. And Walmart and Amazon is my thing that's on my list.
So have you ever, now we're not talking about as a people, but have you ever canceled someone and regretted it because maybe you didn't have all the facts?
I don't know. All right,
so how about society? Who have we canceled without having all the facts. And it happens all the time. I always see that.
Absolutely.
Everybody, they start canceling.
Absolutely.
You know,
it does happen all the time. I'm not really sure.
So let me tell you the risk for that is that, you know, when we start trying to cancel people for every little thing, what happens is people start being numb to your cause. You know, even here's one. Oh, here's a good one. So you remember they tried to cancel the Little Mermaid because she was black?
Yes.
And they tried to do it was a few things where they tried to cancel because the fictional people were black.
Right.
So recently, Marvel decided they're going to have a white Black Panther.
I saw that and thought they were lying. Is that true?
It's true. Yeah. Not in the movie, but the comic books.
Okay.
So blonde hair, blue eyes, Black Panther. Right. So now everybody
who's supporting that?
Who's going? Everybody else. I'm gonna say everybody. White folks will support it.
Okay.
But you know what my comment was on there? I said, okay, now this is where you where the risk comes in. You made all this hoopla about you know, black representation,
right?
You know, and
right,
this and that, whatever.
Right.
So then now when the tables were turned, you know, what can you say? So now anytime that would happen, they could say, well, and I've read the comments online and different things. They could say, well, you didn't have a problem with the mermaid. You didn't have a problem with Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse because he was Afro-Latino. Right. So they can go back to all these different people, fictional ones.
Right.
We're talking about the you know, the historical portrayal, whatever, but and say, well, you didn't have a problem with that, but then when we have a problem with this, so we don't want to hear it. Okay, so that's a risk of that.
That is a risk.
So
that is a risk.
People will fall, you know, your complaints will fall on deaf ears.
Right.
Now, my thing with that, even with the Black Panther, most of these people don't even read the comic books.
That is true.
I don't read I've never read a Black Panther comic book.
That is
I don't even like the comics sometimes because I think they go too far.
Yeah.
Where it's unbelievable. Like you guys are going over where I say that all the time. I'll stick with the movies.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. And the only reason why I know anything about comic books is because my husband for a very long time was a comic book collector.
Oh, really?
For a very long time. Okay. So I know a little bit about them, but not a lot. But yeah, I'm like, who's going to support that? I really thought they were lying. I really did. I was like, oh, this is a joke. I'm just going to scroll right past this. That's interesting.
So outside of canceling, and I'm not always for canceling stuff, like what's a better alternative?
Is there one?
No. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you talk about the corporate entity, they only understand numbers.
Dollars.
Right?
It's about dollars and cents. That's
and
right.
It's like I said we had it was a supermarket in Atlantic City, right? And they didn't have that many supermarkets, but it was like poor. Like it was just the ghettoest supermarket. You know, I'm not gonna put the name out there, but I said this is how you make a change. You get everybody that you can and say, you know what? I spend $200 a month in groceries over here, and all it would take is a 1,000 people, or 1,000 shoppers rather,
right?
You know, and you're losing $30,000 a month, right? So you can do stuff like that, but I guess that's kind of canceling too. Isn't that canceling?
It is, but I feel like that's more accountability.
More accountability.
If I'm going to spend my money here. Because I feel like canceling is based on something that person did.
Right.
And accountability is I'm spending my money here. You owe me A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, with that. So it's an interesting thing.
I think canceling is effective because it sends a message to people and you try to alter behavior or policies or whatever. I don't know if there's anything else. Well, I think there's other things that's better, but I don't think there's anything else that would be as effective and as quickly. Right. Because of, you know, the money issue.
Right. What is better?
Having to sit down.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, I could go for that.
Or let's say even an educational thing, like say if you have certain things that a corporation's doing or a department, a government entity, even a celebrity,
right,
or a person in the community, you start educating people. You start having meetings and you know, just make people informed of what's going on and let them make their choices.
Yeah,
you know, that's probably better or you can elect a representative to say, hey,
right.
these are what we want. These are the things, you can do stuff like that instead of just, everybody's going to not
shop
buy anything
this day. We're not going to shop this day. But, that's based on the boycotts. The boycotts worked.
Yes.
Yes. But that was because everybody was of one mind. And I don't feel like we have that now. I really don't.
Now, we was talking about like the old canceling, right? Like when stuff comes up in the past, do you think people get canceled for things people did like 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Well, Bill Cosby got canceled for his past.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
You're right.
He got canceled. And let's face it, most people get canceled for their past because we don't know about it until another time. Now, with Roseanne, her business was out immediately because of social media.
Right.
And technically, she was canceled immediately. Yeah. Like, they took her off her show and they killed her off the show.
Right.
So yes.
I don't remember that.
They killed her off her show, so they made sure she wasn't coming back.
Well, another group of people canceled her because of what she did with the national anthem.
Right. So she's had a couple of incidences where she got canceled, came back, got canceled, but this go round, at least not with the Connors. Wow. They've even taken this show off now. They had their last Connors, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just remember, things that you've done in the past can come back to haunt you.
Yes.
I guess depends on what it did. And
now that we're living in the social media times, it happens quickly.
Yeah. And everything could be found on the net.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That is true.
We need a word of the day.
Cancel.
Okay. The word of the day is cancel. CANCEL. You can spell it however you want to spell it, but just let you know. So, and for all you new listeners, that we have a word of the day for each episode, and if you get all the words of the day for every episode during the month, and be the first one to email us with those words, and that's Hot Topix. That's HOTTOPIX podcast @gmail.com. You will have a chance to win the monthly prize, and we didn't have one for last month.
Okay.
So you guys, and it doesn't matter where you are. You could be anywhere in the world. We will accommodate you some sort of way.
So they missed out on that Mercedes last month.
Yes, you did. Yep, fully loaded Mercedes, because you guys didn't want to participate. Yep. And next month we might have something even bigger.
Just don't cancel us.
Yeah. But as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we have some new subscribers.
Yay!
I think we got about 15 new subscribers.
Thank you.
From the country of Nigeria.
Thank you, Nigeria.
So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you with the next one. And make sure you get those words of the day in. We want to give away some prizes.
Thank you, family, for listening to the latest episode of Hot Topix. As usual, listen, like, share, subscribe. Ta.